When Donald Trump enters a New York City courtroom tomorrow for his second week in front of a 12-member jury in his first criminal trial, he's surely hoping that his lawyers continue following his lead and that of his former mentor, Roy Cohn, who taught him the strategy of deflect, distract, never give in, and most of all, admit no wrong. Of course, that strategy hasn't appeared to go too well for Trump's defense team so far. During last week's hearing on whether Trump violated his gag order at least 10 times, Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, claimed that counter to what was clearly evident by Trump's actions on potential trial witnesses, that, quote, President Trump is being very careful to comply with your honor's rules, unquote. That led to a stern response from Judge Juan Marchand. You, Mr. Blanche, you are losing all credibility. I have to tell you that right now you are losing all credibility with the court. Mind you, that exchange came on only the second day of the jury being seated in what is expected to be a weeks-long trial. As the New York Times points out, as the trial grinds on in the weeks ahead, legal experts said the defense team will need to walk a fine line to appease both of its audiences, 12 jurors and a singular defendant. Trying to case to your client's vanity rather than to the jury is a losing game, said J. Bruce Maffeo, a former federal prosecutor. Joining me now is Harry Litman, former U.S. attorney and senior legal affairs columnist for the Los Angeles Times, and Doug Jones, former Alabama senator and former U.S. attorney, who is currently a distinguished senior fellow at the Center for American Progress. Thank you both for being here. Harry, I will start with you at the table. It does seem that Todd Blanche was kind of hamstrung by trying to please Donald Trump. I mean, all of this sort of weirdness of calling him President Trump when he's not the president and just insisting on using that terminology and saying he did no wrong, he did nothing wrong. All of it just seems to be for Trump's benefit. How well do you think that's working out for them in the trial?
So far, not very, and I think it's only going to get worse. Look, we talked about Roy Cohn. Trump, we often compare to a mob boss, but even when a mob boss is under indictment and goes to see his Roy Cohn says, all right, shut up and listen to me now. I know what needs to happen. We're going to go there and say, maybe you haven't lived an exemplary life, but this charge and that charge. They can't do that with Trump, and what it means is they're going to have to say he never had an affair with McDougal. He never slept with Stormy. And all in all, for the jury, I mean, it's one thing for him to deflect and deny, but there are 12 people there who are judging his credibility. And Can everyone be lying here? Imagine the cross-examination they're going to have to do on Stormy Daniels. It's the wrong way to they're just going to have to call her a flaming liar. They tried to assume the same for Pecker. It's a terrible strategy.
If they know that they're lying, isn't that some sort of misconduct on the part of the lawyers?
That's very interesting. If they know that, well, I mean, they won't say.
They know the lie.
Yeah, they can't, they can't suborn perjury.
Yeah.
But the perjury here would be from Donald Trump, and I don't think we're going to see him testify. They can suggest that Daniels, well, you're making this up, aren't you? But there's only so far they can go.
Yeah.
And it'll just, in front of a jury, it'll look like they're badgering her and the like.
And also his whole image from the 1980s is just the witness against him. Of course he did it.
Right.
Let me go to you, Doug Jones. This was Donald Trump's complaint last week that he was stuck in court.
These are all Biden trials. This is done as election interference. Everybody knows it. I'm here instead of being able to be in Pennsylvania and Georgia and lots of other places campaigning, and it's very unfair.
Today is Monday. There is no court today. I doubt Donald Trump is campaigning, or nor is he probably with Melania, because let's just be honest, she doesn't want to hang out with him. It's clear. Here's what he did the days that he did not have court last week. Wednesday, golf. Saturday, golf. Sunday, golf. He does have a couple campaign events this Wednesday in Wisconsin and Michigan, but up to now, he has not utilized his time when he's not in court to campaign. Your thoughts?
You know, the thought that I had when I first heard that comment, when he said he was supposed to be in North Carolina, he was supposed to be in Pennsylvania. Well, no, he's supposed to be in court. He's a criminal defendant, and he is required to be in court. Maybe he would like to be in North Carolina, but I don't know, and I bet Harry would agree. I've never seen a criminal defendant who didn't want to be anywhere the hell else other than sitting in a court with the United States of America or the state of X saying that you're on trial for a crime. So, you know, look, I really think that that's just playing to the cameras. Donald Trump is going to do what Donald Trump wants to do on the weekends. He will campaign some. What's striking to me is how little campaigning he's actually doing, as opposed to President Biden, who is traveling across this country, 2 or 3 times a week. It's really stunning the way they have picked up the pace of their travels. And Donald Trump's not doing that. He wants to campaign by complaining about the trial, and that's it.
Doug Jones, you prosecuted Klansmen. Did any of them ever fall asleep in court while you were prosecuting them?
I didn't look over. I didn't pay any attention, but I doubt it seriously. Those kind of cases, any kind of case, a defendant more than probably just about anybody is acutely aware of the circumstances and acutely aware of what they are facing. There's no one else in that courtroom that is facing what that criminal defendant is facing. And you better be on top of your game, because I know that Todd Blanche is a good lawyer, and I am confident that he has told his client, this jury is going to be watching you every second. They're going to be watching you even when they're supposed to be watching the judge or a witness. And so you've got to make sure that you have the right demeanor, you stay alert, and because your body language, he may not testify, but his body language tells it all.
Same to you, Harry Litman. Have you ever seen a defendant in such a high-profile case where they can go to jail, fall asleep?
Yeah, look, I was in court, and so you could see the jury and see Trump and see the attentiveness. Obviously not. It shows. I think who knows what's going through his mind and what medication he's taking and the like, but obviously any lawyer would,
nudge him. What was interesting is that, having been in the courtroom the day that I was there too, it is interesting to watch the jurors really play ping pong. They really do watch whoever's testifying, and then they keep looking back over at Donald Trump, and they're taking notes. They're not falling asleep. Like, they're actually very attentive. Did you get any signals to any of the particular witnesses being of interest to them when you were sitting there?
Well, I think they really were focused on, Pecker is a weird guy, a kind of a scoundrel, but I thought he played it like an open book, and they were attentive to him, and they were very attentive on the redirect. The last part, when the DA was there, you could see him go a little bit more in their seats. They've also, there's been a lot of preview about Michael Cohen.
Absolutely.
I'm sure when he comes, they'll be focused hard.
Doug Jones, there's an April 23rd gag order hearing, and then there's a Thursday gag order hearing that's coming up. What do you anticipate happening here? Because Donald Trump is notoriously difficult to restrain. What do you expect this judge to do?
I think it's hard to say. I don't see that this judge right now is going to in any way put him in custody. But I do think he'll talk to him. I do think he will say, you are stretching the court's limits here with what you have done. I think he will find that he violated the gag order. It seems pretty clear to, I think, just about anybody that's ever been in a criminal case that he has violated the gag order and likely done it intentionally. And that's where I think his lawyer got into some problems with the court when he said he was trying his best to comply. Pretty clear that he's trying his best to goad this judge into doing something, and that could be a problem. But I don't think this judge will take the bait. I think he wants to get this trial through and proceed. Nothing has happened, and I think he's going to just have a stern talking.
Harry Litman and former Senator Doug Jones, thank you both very much.